want to acknowledge that Seattle's waterfront stands on the lands and shared waters of the Puget Sound Coast Salish people, whose ancestors have resided here since time immemorial. It is with gratitude that we honor the land, the water, and its peoples.
So Stephen, thank you for being here. So you are a sound artist. So how did you transition from a punk guitarist to incorporating sound to other art mediums?
Step by step by step. I started late 70s being in a band when I was 14, living in New York, always being exposed to other artists. In college, I was an intern at the Museum of Modern Art in a video program, which is what it was called then, and started to fantasize about doing soundtracks. And something about being exposed to video art and then later experimental film just opened my ears to other ways of working. It's almost a cliche, but the DIY aesthetic of punk gave me permission to do what I wanted to do without the traditional skill set and find other skill sets.
You know, this project obviously at the floating dock at Pier 62 is site-specific. Mm-hmm. So how is working this project different or similar to other projects that you have done?
It's similar and different. It's different because it's been an 8-year process. And when I was first brought down here, the concept of the waterfront was there, but the site wasn't determined. From the very beginning, I knew I wanted something that was responsive to the environment. Initially, I started talking about speakers and electric, computers, and people were saying, if this is going to be a permanent work, you have to think differently. So thinking about something kinetic became the next way of thinking. But clicked in on this idea of the buoy bells pretty early, and then it was just adapting as sites became possible, but always thinking about the waterfront, always thinking about something that blended with the environment and something that was triggered by the environment. And the engineering became such an essential part of the project, and figuring out how to make it work within the rigor of the waterfront and seasons that would change very much became, in the end, working with Stuart Kendall, who's a brilliant engineer, and his ways of thinking about taking what I was asking for with this simple idea of something played by the water, and then his kind of coming up with these ingenious devices or clockwork-like devices that would gather energy, store up energy, and then hit the bells. Which is what I like about coming from the water, is it'll be different every time you hear it.
Right. And we do have a lot of people asking, we talk about the tidal action and we try to explain how that energy is stored. And some people just imagine that, it's the rocking of the pier and then it causes that. So how would you describe it to someone who hasn't seen it yet?
I'm hesitant to over-describe it because I want it to feel a little bit more magical. The tide is moving up and down, the dock is moving up and down. This information is being collected in an analog, and at a certain point, decisions are made, and maybe one bell is hit, maybe two, maybe five. It might be strong, it might be quiet. And I like making pieces that don't call so much attention to themselves that you either get tired of them immediately, or that if somebody wants to sit there and have lunch or be on their phone, I don't want to interfere with that.
The space that, when you first started the artwork, it was the waterfront hadn't even started construction.
Sure.
So how do you feel about where it is now?
I feel lucky. And I feel lucky just because it's such a gorgeous spot it's kind of when you go down the dock, a lot of the rest of the world can disappear if you wanted to. You can turn left and you see the Ferris wheel. You can look up and see people, but you don't have to. You can just look out straight to the water. And it feels secluded, even in what could be a very public space.
What do you hope that other people take away from this artwork when they see it, they hear it?
And I hope that there's something about the sounds that become a kind of signifier for them of the space. I want it to be kind of visible and invisible. Maybe that they go down there and they don't even notice it because there's something about the materials we used, the way we treated the metal, that I'm hoping it feels like it's of the landscape, but it's also rising up as something of its own.
So is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful to everybody who helped me. And I just, I hope, in some ways I hope the piece becomes louder of its own over the years. Not even just that we make it hit harder, but just that people start to hear it and that they look and listen and look out for it.